A very good evening. You're watching News 9 Facebook Live with me, Adarsh Vepachedu. We all remember the infamous Coronil kit that Patanjali launched as a quote-unquote cure for COVID-19. We saw plenty of outreach from the ICMR and Ayush Ministry. In fact, they went ahead and censured Patanjali, and eventually the company backtracked and termed Coronil as an immunity booster. Well, that hasn't stopped the sales of Coronil kit from skyrocketing. As per Patanjali's official data, the Coronil kit has recorded sales worth 250 crore rupees in just 4 months since its launch in India as well as abroad. Until the 18th of October, Patanjali Ayurved had sold around 2.5 million or 25 lakh Coronil kits worth 250 crore rupees. Now, the kits were sold via online, direct marketing, general marketing, and through Patanjali's dispensaries and medical centers across the country and abroad. So what seems to have made people instill their faith in Coronil kit despite it being not a cure? Should the government have been more proactive in this particular case? Did Patanjali just make a fortune based on panic? To discuss some of these very matters, we have with us Dr. Mohammad Rafi Hakim, who is a District Ayush Officer for Bengaluru Urban and Rural, joining us on the phone line. Many thanks, sir, for speaking to us. 25 lakh Coronil kits worth 250 crore rupees sold in just 4 months. Do these numbers surprise you any bit?
No, sir, it is not surprise because the cases are go more and more. Since there is no medicine and no immunization and no treatment for so far from the WHO side or wherever it is across the world. So the public who are of hope, they are of the much publicized this Patanjali products they might have taken.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Rafi, do you think that the Ayush Ministry's response and, Patanjali backtracking that Coronil is only an immunity booster and not a cure, do you think perhaps it came a little too late because people seem to have already made up their mind that they were going to buy it? Your thoughts on that?
No, sir. Startingly, it has launched as a Coronil cure kit, but now, since the Government of India intervention, it has said it is an immunity booster kit as such.
True.
Since all the contents in that kit, that is like Anutaila or Coronil for the respiratory and Shwasari, these are majorly the medicines they are mentioned in our Ayurvedic texts, which are for the respiratory system as well as the antiviral. The same medicines are used. As before that, only Government of India in its website, whatever the contents they are taken for this preparation of this medicine, Government of India already published in its website only. These are the medicines which are helpful for the increase your immunity in such conditions.
Correct.
Since there is no treatment, we are hope for the just to curb the whatever the symptoms, and it should be respiratory protection, because the respiratory failure itself or oxygen saturation reduction in the oxygen saturation itself is the one of the major drawback here in this condition. So once the medicines which are helpful for the respiratory system as well as to curb the what are the symptoms through the Ayurvedic medicine, it's a good choice only.
Okay.
Because this is already mentioned by the Government of India.
True.
They have marketed it and publicized it more, and Government of India also publicized.
They have in fact marketed it and publicized it as a cure. That seems to have been the big issue.
Cure nobody is claiming as such. It is an immunity booster only, because cure it takes a lot of regulatory bodies. It has to come. Go through regulatory standards. They should.
But Patanjali said that it is a cure in the beginning. Doctor.
No, beginning it has claimed, but as when the Government of India intervened, it has withdrawn its cure.
Correct.
It is only the immunity booster.
No, I was just thinking if we could have ensured that Patanjali wouldn't have done such a thing in the first place. If we had such stringent regulations.
The Government of India has already did it. It has withdrawn it has suspended a few days for this license itself. Then when clarified, when they agreed for the immunity booster, then it started.
Okay. Dr. Rafi, end of the day, 250 crore rupees has been made off of Coronil. What do you have to say about how Patanjali went about terming Coronil as a cure? They obviously misled. And since there was no cure, people may have thought something is better than nothing.
Yeah, starting it has misled. Government of India has intervened in time and it has stopped such type of publicity. The public who are of the hopes, because when there is no medicine and no cure and no immunization or such other things, then public will automatically run towards the alternative protective measures. In such a way, since the Patanjali has better marketing and publicizing this one wings and marketing outlets, it has more publicized to the. I mean, it has reached to the public, and then so public started to purchasing through the online or direct or through their outlets.
True, true, true. Doctor, making business out of, maida and ghee is one thing, but how ethical is to make a profit out of fear? Because you were talking about a publicization of Coronil. They started off on the wrong foot, then they changed their stance over it. Could this have been avoided? Could this have been done in a better manner by Patanjali?
Could you say what happens?
How ethical is it? Is my bigger question, sir.
Ethically, I see. Ethically means they are the immunity improver, immunity booster as these medicines. Whatever the Anutaila, which is rich in which is prepared out of Jivanti, Devdaru, Shira, Sariva, such other medicines, and the one Shwasari they are included, which contains the Tejapatra, ginger, lavang, dalchini, black pepper, etc., which is already published by the Government of India in its website. They are the immunity boosters.
Correct. It's only immunity booster, not cure. Yes.
Yeah. They publicized it as an immunity booster. First, starting there when inaugurated, they might have given there is a cure, saying that some patients they have tried. But when regulatories and all acts and rules comes, they stopped that. When the Government of India intervened, they stopped. They are selling they are the immunity boosters. So many companies are made the immunity boosters, really similar with this one. But this Patanjali has made more publicity and more, it has reached more to the public. That's what but I will be much purchase or the sales of this medicine.
All right. All right. Many thanks, Dr. Rafi, for joining us and for sharing with us your insights on the kind of profit that Patanjali is making at this point in time. All thanks to the Coronil kits that they have sold in large quantities. Remember, they had initially touted it as a cure for COVID-19, but eventually, after earning a lot of ire from the ICMR, from the Ayush Ministry, they went ahead and said that, okay, this is only an immunity booster. But nonetheless, that did not really stop people across the country and the world from going ahead and buying the Coronil kit. And it probably has to do with the fact that panic had already set in, fear had already set in, and people were beginning to feel that, something is better than nothing, because vaccine also was still not available. So yes, lakhs and lakhs of Coronil kits have been sold, but the truth remains, they had initially touted it as a cure, and soon after they changed it into an immunity booster. If you like the information that we've shared with you, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News 9 on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Many thanks for joining us.